Hello friends, here is Dr. PRAMOD AMBADASRAO PAWAR presenting a research paper written by Hans Nadar, the University of Bamenda, Higher Teachers Training College, Department of English Modern Letters. The title of the research paper is Exploring Transcendentalism in American and Indian Poetry, a study of selected poems of Ralph Waldo Emerson and Pawar Pramod Ambadasrao's Ubiquity. So this is a research paper which was written by Hans Nadar from University of Bamenda, Cameroon. Actually, this research paper was written on Ubiquity. It's my book. It's poetry, which was published in Cameroon, Central South Africa. So after receiving this research paper, the research paper was then published in Epitome International Journal of Multidisciplinary Research, ISSN number 23956968. So it was published in volume 4, issue 7th, in the month of July 2018. So let's go through this paper and what he says about ubiquity, especially transcendentalism. So the purpose behind making this video is to facilitate students, scholars, academicians, researchers to excel in studies, especially transcendentalism. So I repeat the title of the research paper, Exploring Transcendentalism in American and Indian Poetry, a study of selected poems of Ralph Waldo Emerson and Pawar Pramod Ambadasrao's Ubiquity by Hans Nadar. Abstract. Before I read the abstract, I would like to give details about Hans Nadar. He is from the University of Bamenda, Higher Teachers Training College, Department of English Modern Letters. So let's go through the research paper. First of all, here is the abstract. Transcendentalism is a 19th century literary movement in the realm of American literature. Although it is a purely American literary concept, which was informed by Romanticism from Europe, its tenets can be applied to other literatures across the world. This study seeks to explore transcendentalism in American and Indian poetry with emphasis on some selected poems of Ralph Waldo Emerson and Pawar Pramod Ambadasrao. Nature, religion, and independence are the key transcendentalist tenets examined in this study. Keywords: transcendentalism, nature, religion, and independence. Here is the research paper, full-length research paper, introduction. When Romanticism started blooming in Europe in the 19th century, little did some of its proponents like Wordsworth, Blake, nor did Balzac know that it will be embraced beyond the frontiers of Europe. Romanticism ushered a new source of knowledge that seemed to debunk the emphasis on reason, science, and logic that characterized the Age of Enlightenment. When this current of romanticism reached the United States of America, it was, however, wholeheartedly embraced and even radicalized. What therefore started timidly in Europe in the form of romanticism was now received and practiced in America in the form of transcendentalism. Transcendentalism was a literary and philosophical movement that emphasized transcendence or going beyond. Proponents of the movement believed in going beyond the ordinary limits of thought and experience in several issues, namely transcending society by living a life of independence and contemplative self reliance, often out in nature, transcending the physical world to make contact with spiritual or metaphysical realities. Transcending traditional religion by blazing one's own spiritual trait and transcending reason to embrace intuition. Being a purely American literary movement that started in the first half of the 19th century, the Transcendentalists laid the celebration of the American experiment as one of the individualism and self-reliance. They had the mission to take a progressive stance on women's rights, abolition, reform, and education. They propagated an American spirit in which imagination was better than reason, creativity was better than theory, and action better than contemplation. They criticized government, organized religion, laws, social institutions, and creeping industrialization. Transcendentalists had faith that all would be well because human could transcend limits and reach astonishing heights. The link between Ralph Waldo Emerson's poetry and that of Pawar Pramod has been established as will be seen in this article. The life of Emerson, especially his passion for transcendentalism, cannot be overemphasized. Being the first major intellectual movement in the realm of American literary studies, Emerson is credited to have championed this movement not just by being the spokesperson of Transcendentalists in America in its early days, but because of the great reflection of Transcendentalist tenets in his essays and poems. Born in 1803 in Boston, Massachusetts, Emerson began formal schooling at the Boston Latin School in 1812. His father, William Emerson, was a Unitarian minister. After Emerson's studies at Harvard University and the Harvard School of Divinity, he was licensed as a minister in 1826 and ordained to the Unitarian Church in 1829. It is with mentioning that he got married to Ellen Tucker in 1829, but she died of tuberculosis in 1831. Her sudden death left Emerson devastated and added to his own crisis of faith, which caused him to resign from the clergy. From Unitarianism, he started figuring something different. This inspired him to develop the new philosophy called Transcendentalism, which is our focus in this paper. This new philosophy was greatly influenced by Romanticism through his meeting in Europe in 1832 with Thomas Carlyle, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and William Wordsworth. Apart from his poetry that will be examined in this study, his essays, for instance, Self-Reliance, The American Scholar, Nature, etc., greatly portray the tenets of Transcendentalism. On the path of Pawar Pramod, he is a literary scholar born in 1976 in Gunjoti, Taluka Umarga, in the region of Usmanabad in India. He holds a PhD in English from the University of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, India. He is an assistant professor and head of the Department of English, Sant Jnaneshwar Mahavidyalaya, Soegaon, in the district of Aurangabad. He has authored several books and articles and is also the editor-in-chief of Epitome, International Journal of Multidisciplinary Research. He practices Hinduism, studied Sanskrit, and has published several works in English and Marathi. Some of his published works include Mom, Sparshantar, Drink Love's Oasis, Movements for the Still Heart, etc. Our Pramod Ambadasrao's work that has been chosen for this study is Ubiquity, published in Yaoundé, Cameroon in 2017. The next paper will be continued in the second part of this video.